to my live call tonight, Becoming All Things to All People. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. I'm going to be answering some questions that actually was given prior to the 4th of July holiday. And so I'm going to do that this evening. And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing for over 40 years. I share a lot of what I've learned in my journey on these live calls. I started in this business totally broke and sold a junk truck to get started, put $200 into my business. And for the almost last 28 years now, I've been full-time in network marketing. It's been awesome. So I'm going to acknowledge some great people joining, like John Johnson. How are you in Baltimore? You can see where you're from. Danette in Michigan. Nice to see you. And Doug, I forgot where you're from, but good to see you, Doug. And I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. And Kumar, nice to see you. Good to see you, Andrina in Texas. Loranda in Canada, good to see you. Yeah, you know, it was interesting because I didn't get a lot of comments on my post on Friday, and I understand that because a lot of people were busy with their the 4th of July holiday. And Nicole, nice to see you in Iowa. And Rocio in California, good to see you. Good to see you. So anyway, my son, who's really taken an interest in cooking, he's actually very good at it. So anyway, so that's what we did Friday night. And I thought, okay, we'll start afresh on Monday. Tony, nice to see you in San Diego. Good to see you in Georgia, New York City. Good to see you on the call. And Jody Collins in Alabama, nice to see you. Good to see you, Jody. And who else do we got joining us here? You know what? Hang on just a second. I'm going to get this light right. Okay. So, yeah, and then we have Estefano from Ecuador. Good to see you. ¿Cómo está? My friend. And Romel from the Philippines. Good to see you on the call. Yes, a lot of great people joining tonight. So if you have a question, feel free to post it. And what I'm going to do is, I hope everyone's having had a great weekend. You're all fresh, ready to go. Monday, it's that's it. You hit the ground running. Know what you want to do. Have your list out there. From South Korea, 안녕하세요. Good to see you. Yeah, thanks, Romel. I'm missing the Philippines as well. Love it there. and I'm going to my questions. Okay, there we go. There we go. And aha. And so Michael Lentz, and he's is he in Denmark? He's over there in the Scandinavian countries in Europe. So Michael is asleep, most likely. I don't expect him to be on. Jennifer, nice to see you. I hope Kansas isn't too cold. Anyway, but Michael, so you can catch this when you wake up. But here's what he asked. He says, how do you react when a downline suddenly made a sponsor shift, but never came to an event, training, online Zoom, but says in public it was his upline fault? It happened some generations down. Okay, so, here's the thing. Unfortunately, there's people that when they join your business, they expect you to do everything. It's like, hey, if you're going to get paid on me, then you need to go to work. and you're only making what, $10, $20 maybe in the entire month off of whatever they did. Wow, that's real cheap labor. Anyway, I would not sweat that. I would just let that go, because I promise you that person will say the same thing about his upline wherever they signed up, whatever team they shifted over to. They're going to say the same thing about their upline. That won't change, because these are people that, they expect way too much, and they don't want to step up and be a responsible leader and do what they're supposed to do. They have to take that action. It's not the upline's responsibility to do that. Here's what your job, and no doubt you did this well, Michael, is that you make sure that they have everything they need, equip them. Like, what is the video that they're going to use to prospect people? Is there a let's getting started onboarding PDF video that they can review, things like that? After you've answered their questions, and again, you said they're down in your line somewhere, then, no doubt the sponsor did a lot of work with that person. And I've seen this happen where some people put a lot of work into somebody and they have no gratitude whatsoever. And then they switch lines because nothing's happening. Well, of course nothing's happening, because you didn't happen. You didn't take action. And then, okay, and so Michael, it went for a second question. I sometimes get the question, I want to restart and I'm ready like never before. How would you react or answer that? The person was one of the best in our country a few years ago. How much time should we invest, or should we let him show some action first? Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Hang on. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that. But no question about it. If somebody's ready to get started, just support them. Just ask them what is their plan? What are their goals? What do they want to accomplish? Set out those parameters first, find out. And then if they need any support, three-way calls or Zoom calls or things like that, see if they're showing up. But I wouldn't spend a lot of time on a person like that. But if you say that he was one of your best a few years ago, maybe they could be great again. People go through things, sometimes they go through personal things in their lives and it really blows them out. And then they finally come back. So don't ever write anyone off. But on the other hand, sometimes people might have been great in the past, but they burned a lot of bridges in terms of relationships, in not fulfilling what they promised, or how they treated some of their people. So there's that too. The question always is, how much influence does that person really have anymore? Because when they have zero influence, then the only thing that they can turn to is social media to try to find people to join. It's a slower build that way, but that would be the alternative. But, sit down, go over that plan with them, see what they want to do, let's say here in the month of July, and see if they're doing it. Now, Amy, of course, has always these deep questions. She says, our team is growing. We always have done our coaching planning calls together with my leaders. And by the way, friends, if you have a question, you can just ask it and George will screenshot it and send it to me. With my leaders and their sponsors, because everyone is fairly new. We are now going to change it so that every leader is doing their own coaching calls with their team. And we will now meet once every month with all leaders to discuss our progress, team goals. Any tips for our team? How to create a better culture with our leaders that have yet to sponsor. Okay, now you said have yet to sponsor. Okay, then they're not a leader yet. All you got is a consumer. If they're not sponsoring, that's what they are. They're a consumer. So you have to find out why. And again, is it an onboarding confusion as to what to do? Me just having known you, Amy, I would think that's not the case. Here's the thing. When you talk about you're going to change it where every leader is doing their own coaching calls with their team. Are they really qualified to do that yet? Yeah, because you mentioned that they were new. So again, I talked about just 2 weeks ago. I talked about the 3-7-30 onboarding system that you should have in place. You remember that? So the three had the first 3 days, 72 hours, using that time to get a new person basically familiar with how to present or what tools to use, having knowledge of the product, giving them the steps, the action. If there's an onboarding video, get that to them right away. Add them to a Facebook product group. So what we're doing a lot of legwork in that 3 days, but the 7 days had to do with now they got their product. Are they using it? Have they got their list made? Have you gone over the things that also that they, just you're basically getting them ready to hit the floor. Matter of fact, they are hitting the floor in that 7 days. And then of course, the big picture, where do you want them to be at the end of 30 days? And they need to know that. And all that should be in the onboarding so that they, if you're looking at your first ranked position, is that obtainable in the first 30 days? It's okay if it's not, but is it? If it's not, what is obtainable? Now, so when we talk about coaching, here's the thing. If it's on video, you don't have to say it again. If it's not, you're going to have to say it again and again and again, and you're going to have to repeat yourself, and so are your leaders, and then they're going to get tired. That's for lack of a system. When you have a system, you don't have to repeat yourself. You simply give them the link, have them review that. Outside of that, what are some common questions that come up? You can have a video and a PDF for that as well. And you can have that in your Facebook group. If you have people that are leaders, people that, keep in mind, it's not like you're going to have an abundance, and you don't need an abundance. If you want to become a solid six-figure earner, then, you can do that with 24 people that are driving. I'm not saying that these are rock stars. I'm talking about people that are really driving. They're sponsoring people. They're building. So you might want to have just coaching calls for specific people. Some you might want to do one-on-ones. And that's why I titled this video, Becoming All Things, because I know Amy's a Bible reader. If you might remember, Paul said that. He became all things to all people that he might save some. He said, to a Jew, I became a Jew. To a Greek, I became a Greek. Now think about it. I'm going to tell you, in this business of network marketing, I have been a psychologist. I have been a parent counselor, marriage counselor, you name it. In other words, people come to you, and when you have relationships with these people, if you do, some people choose not to. Here's the thing. If you want people to stay with you, you're going to have to create the sticky stuff to keep them with you in this long journey. I have got people been with me for 21 years. Okay, many. So, I did that because of the sticky stuff. That is, people that, bonded to me. We had a friendship. And then, of course, they're going to open up. I remember one time I flew out to London, and me and my wife, and we stayed across from one of the palaces there, I forget, in London, and beautiful hotel. But anyway, so that morning I had a leader in London that wanted to meet me. I never met her before, and so my wife, I went ahead of my wife, and then I met her in the lobby. We sat down, and she just started opening up, and she started talking, and then finally she talked about things that were really she was struggling with. Mostly had to do problems with her husband. And so we had a really great exchange. I was able to give her a lot of advice. And they're still together. They're, doing very well. Matter of fact, we went out to dinner with both of them before we left London. But I'm just saying that we become all things to all people if we're the kind of leaders that create the sticky stuff that keeps people with us in the journey. I'm just saying it happens. You stick around in this business long enough, believe me, it happens. But going back to this, but when you talk about team culture, things like that, again, pour on the recognition in your Facebook group. People will join you for money, but what keeps them is being valued. That's more important than the money. It's really true. You said, I've heard Ray Higdon mention the importance of inclusion. My question is, how do we do this with leaders that really want to do this and want to be part of these calls, but still need growth, more personal development, or have yet to all right, so, you just give them simple assignments. I mean, how do we do it in kindergarten? When our kindergarten teacher gave us assignments like, I want you to do show and tell. I want you to bring something on Monday, and I want you to be prepared to show the class and tell the class about it. So, I mean, with me, when I was a kid, I always liked going to the creek, and I like to just capture frogs and turtles, whatever. So, even pigeons, I would, I was just, it's like my garage was a zoo. And so anyway, I bring my frog to class, say, this is Herbert, and he's my frog, and I caught him in my creek. He was really difficult to catch. Matter of fact, I got totally wet. I threw myself in that creek, but I finally got him with my net. And, whatever. When we get, here's my point. The teacher is getting the class in what? Inclusion, you talked about, involved. Involvement creates what? Commitment. Involvement creates commitment. There's things that you can ask certain leaders to share on a Zoom call, or ask them to put up a video about something that just happened in the Facebook group. Make sure that you train everyone to acknowledge those kind of posts. Get excited about it, comment about it, engage with it, saying awesome, 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 because it's going to create a lot of excitement. Reach out to me if there's something else, but you've got great things going on, obviously. And Andrina from Texas, she says, how do you convert a conversation from business to product after they said no to the opportunity? Well, one thing, again, to me, the product and the opportunity is inseparable. So if you presented the opportunity, no doubt you talked about the product, right? And so if they say that, well, you know, right now I'm just too busy, I got too much going on, whatever it is, my answer to that is, you know what, I understand that. Maybe I could check with you later about the business, but the one thing I'm sure of, you need this product. We all need this product. And I would like for you to at least try the product out, because that's the first step in evaluating really whether I have a business opportunity or not. You can cancel anytime. There's a 100% money back guarantee. So would you be my customer first and try this product? I'm confident that you will like it. I mean, try that. That's usually what. Nita, nice to see you. All right, and George, you sent me something. What else? Let me make sure I didn't overlook someone. Oh, okay, I didn't. So George is on the ball as usual. Okay, let me see. Oh, Andrina, again. What is the right thing to say to a customer who tells you they can no longer consume? Well, you know, again, it just depends on why. Is it because they don't have any money? Is it because they're having a reaction to a product that is, you know, they're not comfortable with? A little clarity, and then I would know how to ask that. But then she says, is there such a thing as too much follow-up? Yeah, there is, because it will look like we're begging if we follow up too much. Give them some space, and then when you do follow up, do it with an apology. Do it with an apology. That is, hey, Andrina, I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you lately. I've been so busy with my business. I mean, we're growing so fast. New leaders coming on board. I mean, this has gone far better than I ever expected. But, you know, I apologize that it's taken me this long to get to you. I've got some time tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you're going to be around at that time, let me know. Or if you have some time, let me know exactly what it is, and I'll look at my calendar and see if I can do it. But I hope you're doing well. That's if you're leaving a message. If you get them, then you can say, hey, you can just say, hey, do you have time now? So, but the apology thing creates curiosity. It makes them say, wow, what am I missing out? Again, people are more motivated by loss than they are gain. You can dangle the 5-star house, the Ferrari, whatever, in front of somebody like that, but they don't really believe it. They really don't believe that. But when they feel like they're losing something and they're not included, and then perhaps they did not give it the time it deserved, which is true, how dare they? Then because of the fear of loss, then you can get their interest. But if we're just following up without the apology approach, it looks more like sometimes we're begging. We don't want to beg. You don't want hungry eyes. Don't do that. It needs to be, you're doing them a favor. They're not doing you a favor. And then let me see, George here, if you have. And Esther from the country of Japan. How can I present the opportunity in Latin America when I have a different time zone in Japan? You know, you're just going to have to look at your time. You know what? Japan, so is it like 12 hours difference or 13 hours difference right now? because is it like 9:42 a.m. in Japan right now? So you would have to work, maybe you have to figure it out. Do you work evening or morning hours? That's really what it's going to come down to. I remember that back in the 90s, I used to, when I was calling people, prospecting people, I would start on the East Coast and then gradually work my way west in the United States. So I would just go through my time zones. And so, man, I mean, I would, if I'm talking to people in New York City or Florida or North Carolina, wherever on the East Coast, and then I would go to Central Time Zone. So Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, maybe, things like that. Oh, let me plug my thing in here. And then off to Mountain Time, and then finally Pacific Time. I was always that way. And then, of course, when we had all these tools like Skype, and later, of course, these other apps that we use, WhatsApp and now Zoom and things like that. Now it's international. It's like, okay, what's the difference in the time zones? Some countries have crazy time zones, but what you have to figure is when is the prospect home? If mornings are better, that means you're going to be working later at night. It's usually, South America, you're usually, what is that, about Central Time Zone? Could be, maybe Mountain, I don't know, So you might have to make some calls more like 11 o'clock at night. Okay, so if you need to do that, go ahead and block that in. If they're home in the evening, then that means you're going to get up early in the morning and make calls. But you can do it. It's not a problem. I've done it all my life. And then we have, let's see here. Oh, what happened? Okay. And Jenny, Uruguay, how to approach people in emerging countries. All right. So, now Jenny, are you talking about Uruguay? How do you work Uruguay? Is that the question? Anyway. But the fact that, how do you approach people in emerging countries? You approach them the same. And many, companies have emerging market applications, which when a company has those, then they'll know which country that person lives in, so they can keep track of that volume. Companies won't ship to those countries because they're not legally registered. Usually distributors do that. And but the approach would be the same. In other words, people, they want to make money. They're looking for opportunity. It's no different in Uruguay than it is in the United States or China or anywhere. Oscar from Mexico, people say they don't have money. I have bad experiences helping them with the products. Any other ideas? Listen, here's the thing. People can always come up with the money. What you have to come up with is the value, the reason, and you've got to help them find that. So, for example, if my child got hurt and I had to take my child to the doctor, and I had to come up with the money so that he can see the doctor and get the help he needs. Do you think I'm going to come up with the money? Of course. We always come up with the money when there's a sense of urgency. So again, in your presentation, and this is what many people lack in their presentations, is urgency. Urgency. This is going to be big. This is going to be huge. This is going to be a product that's going to be in every household in every country around the world. My only question to you is, what percentage of the market do you want? I'm only looking to work with, I'm only interested in working with a few serious people. So I thought about you. Urgency, fear of loss. Most won't create that. And so they come across that this is just a side gig to make some money. A year from now, it'll be just as good a year from now as it is today. No. So urgency's got to be it. Now, the other thing too is how you know, what, again, they're thinking cost. What you have to get in their head is what it's going to cost them if they don't do this. If people say, well, I don't have the money. Wow, really? What's that like? I mean, not to, to be, struggling without money. What's that like? Do you always want it to be that way, or do you want to change that? If I could show you a way to change that, are you open to it? The power of questions. You've got to open their minds. So it's not going to cost them anything if you do what? Get something positive happening the first week in the business. Remember, I talked about 3-7-30, the onboarding system of 3-7-30. So that's 7 that week. So he sponsors a few who sponsors a few. Go no further than that. You got your money back and you made some money. You're on your way to residual income and earn money, more money than you've ever made in your life. People do it all the time in network marketing, but only the ones who see the value in it. It's up to you to deliver that value. Let me see. Oh, George, did you send anything more? Maybe not. Maybe so. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so for, Jody Collins from Alabama. Again, if you have a question, just write it in your comments and George will screenshot it. What if someone says, I'm an influencer and I don't want to lose any followers? What if someone says, I'm an influencer and I don't want to lose any followers? Well, okay. Then you better take them to the right spot, the right place to be. If you believe in this opportunity, I mean, if you're an influencer, but you're not going anywhere, they're not going anywhere either. It's the blind leading the blind, and they all fall in the same pit. So, destination. Do you believe in this destination? You present your opportunity. Does the influencer agree that this is the opportunity? That if the influencer engages in this, does he see the reward? How big and huge it's going to be? Again, we got to sell it. We got to sell it. Urgency. The importance of taking very fast action. They have to understand that, why that's important. And that as a result, if they're doing that, if they truly have influence, their followers will do the same. Because the way it works with influencers is they call their followers, their friends, their contacts, and the contacts don't need to know all the details. They don't even care. They just believe in the influencer. They say, hey, if you're in it, I'm in it. You don't have to tell me everything, but you can brief me, when you have time, but let's do it. And that's usually how it works. Some people think they have influence, but it's like the old saying, if you think you're a leader and no one's following you, you're only going for a walk. There's a lot of people that talk the game. They talk the walk, but they don't walk the walk. That's right. I've seen people like that. I've had them in my organization. Oh yeah, I've got a lot of people that follow me. I know a guy recently was playing that game, and he was trying to do a bait and switch. He actually thought I would promote his products. Stupid. Okay, so that and is that it with our evening? That's right, Rocio. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night, and we'll do it again. And I'm glad you had hopefully, an enjoyable weekend. You're refreshed, you're ready. So think about your goals that you want to accomplish this week. Who are the people that you need to be talking to that you're not talking to? Who's not on your list that needs to be on your list? Those are some things to think about. Who have you not got back to that, it's been too long? Why are you doing that? Think about it. So take action. That's the thing. Remember, success loves speed. I'll see you tomorrow night.